Hey everybody, John McClain with Team Armscor here. This time I want to talk about the first-time buyer and what they're going to be looking for, or what I like to look for when it comes into the firearms, and whether or not it's going to be, maybe something for concealed carry versus something that's going to be more home defense. There's pros and cons to each model that I'm going to talk about here, and it's really going to be dependent upon what the firearm is going to be meant for in your specific scenario, whether or not you bought a firearm to get a CCW or a concealed carry permit. Or is this going to be a firearm that predominantly just kind of sits at home, loaded and ready to go, a bedside or anything like that? So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the 1911. So obviously Rock Island Armory, or the manufacturer of the most 1911s in the world. Plus sides to having 1911s. We make them in three different sizes. You got the full size, which is right here. We have a mid size, which is a 4-inch, and then a compact size, which is like a 3.5-inch model gun. So you make it a little bit shorter, which means that it makes it a little bit easier to hide. So if you're going for something that's a little bit more of a concealed carry purpose or reason to carry it, then you want to go with like the CS models, so that it'll lower the profile of the gun. The other thing with the 1911 is that it's a fairly slim framed gun, so it sits pretty flat, pretty low profile, so it doesn't add much more bulk or width to your belt line or anything like that, however you decide to carry it. One of the downsides to carrying a 1911, one is going to be the weight, is that this particular model is a steel framed gun, so once it's loaded with bullets, it does make it a little bit heavy, so throughout the day you'll notice it. So you'll need to wear like a sturdier belt and all that kind of stuff. The other thing with something like this is that because it's a single stack model, even the 9mm, you get 10+1 rounds. And as you go into like a compact size or an officer or anything like that, then sometimes the frames will even get shorter, which means that now you go from 10 rounds to maybe only 8. So you're getting 8+1 or 10+1. So capacity is a little bit lower. But again, it's like I said, it's always kind of a balancing act of what you're trying to figure out. Do I want more capacity, or do I want, I'll take less capacity if it means that I can hide the gun a little bit better. Now the other option, which is another model that I have, and this is actually my bedside gun. So this is one of our Rock Island high cap models. So this is a wide body, and as you can see, there's a pretty significant difference when it comes to the width of the guns on the back side. So con makes this gun even heavier, but a big pro for it is that now instead of only 10+1, I can get 16+1, 17+1, depending on the mags or followers and stuff that I'm using. On this particular model, it's also a TAC model, so as you can see, I've got a weapon light here. I've got a Surefire X300. So again, this is a gun that I keep on my bedside. If things decide to go bump in the night, I can bump back. So like I said, something that for you to consider is that I might not carry this concealed because of how much wider it is and how much heavier it is and the bulk of a light or anything like that. So this is a gun that predominantly sits at home, loaded and ready to go. But those are some of the things that you want to look for when you're purchasing your first firearm, is making sure you understand what is going to be the idea behind it. Do I want to conceal carry it, or is this going to be something that predominantly stays at home? Then these are some of the things that you'll have to weigh out, is the weights of the guns, the profiles of the guns, how they fit, how easily they are to conceal, and then whether or not they have certain pluses to them, such as having a rail so that you can attach a weapon light or anything like that to it. So I'm John McClain with Team Armscor. This is this episode of the Quarantine Files.